Hi, this is Vicki Romaine with Cheerful Greetings, and today I'm going to work in my art journal. And this time I'm going to be using some napkins. These are two papers I put in it to kind of protect the other pages, and that's the artwork I did previously. I will be making a double spread image this time, and I'll be using a napkin to help with the design of it. I'm going to put these papers underneath now so that it'll protect the pages that I've already done and the pages I plan to do in the future. So now we have that done. Now, I'm going to be using a couple of different items in my picture. The first thing I have here is my napkin, and I have cut it so that I'm only using 1/4 of the napkin. I will work with the napkin in a few minutes, but first I want to start my background. So we'll put the napkin aside here, and I'm going to use my watercolors. I had a hard time trying to decide what colors I wanted to use, so I went with the pastel blue. I'm working with a very small brush, only because I'm not sure of what I'm going to be coloring. So we'll just start out with a little of the watercolor to begin with and go from there. So I don't want the watercolor all over the whole page. I just want it to kind of give a beginning of a background. So let's see what we can do. I'm just putting a light coat of watercolor. I probably need to get me a larger brush, but this is doing fine for me right now. And as you can tell, I'm not going to the edges in particular. I'm just doing it in the middle of my page. I'm going to fast forward the video in a few minutes so you don't have to watch me put my complete coat of watercolor on the book page. Now I've pulled out my pastels, and I have a color that I think will be pretty close to my watercolor blue, and we're going to try this out and see if it is, and this will help fill in the page a little more without having to put any more water on the page. This pastel is almost a perfect match to the blue in my watercolors. So I may come back to it and put a little more on, but I didn't want to put any more water on my book pages at this time because I need to have it fairly dry. What I am doing now is taking the liner off of the napkin. And as I said before, this is 1/4 of one of the napkins. And so I've got plenty here to make additional projects using napkins. Right now, what I'm doing is pulling off the liner from the napkin. I don't want the liner on it. At one time, I thought this had 2 liners, but I think there must be only 1. In any case, I'm going to try it with 1. Now I'm trying to decide what part of the napkin I want to use. So I'm cutting it in half, and then I'll go around some of my images a little closer. Okay, here's my first piece. A pumpkin with some green and brown leaves. And that'll fit up in the corner there pretty well. And this bottom one has some wheat and all. And I love the pumpkin on the right. It will go on the page also. So now I've got my Podge, and I will be putting it on my book page. And I think I've got it pretty well positioned like I want to place it on the book page. So what we're going to do now, I accidentally dropped some on top. Well, that's okay. I can use it there anyway. So we'll just kind of wipe some of it off and start over. Okay, actually what I'm doing now is getting some on the page, and then I'll put this piece back on and put some on top of it. Just had an accident, that's all. And most accidents you can fix. So now that I've got my Mod Podge under the bottom, I'll spread down my napkin. I try not to have too many ripples in my napkin. Now I'm on my last image that I'm putting on, the big piece of napkin that has the large pumpkin on it. And that will go down here in this corner. And I believe it will show up nicely on the book page. So I place it down in place. If you notice the white that's left on the napkin that I cut down, I could have cut it down a little more. I didn't realize I had left so much white, but it will disappear as soon as I put the Mod Podge on it. Now I'm going back over top of my napkin with my brush that is filled with Mod Podge, and I'm trying very hard to spread out the napkin so it doesn't have too many folds in it. Some folds in it makes it look nice, but sometimes all that folding and crunching up is distracting. I decided to add a little more of my pastel since it was basically the same color as the watercolor, to kind of fill in a little more. In a minute you will notice that I have stamped the background with a couple of stamps that are words, just to give it a little more interest. You have the book words, and then I wanted to put some that were a little larger on top of it. So that's what I did. And I did that, and plus adding this pastel to the 2 pages before. I did both of those before I finished using Mod Podge all over the whole page. So now I have gone over the entire 2 pages with my Mod Podge, not just the images or the cutouts, but the entire 2 pages is covered. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, come back and see me and see what I have in store for you for next time. In the meantime, have a great crafting day, and don't forget, please subscribe.